I have wondered from time to time how my life would have ended up differently apart from experiencing a very specific trial. As a brand new Christian, it felt like the refining fire was turned up about as high as it could go. At the age of 22, I received a couple of severe physical threats for being a Christian. I was told not to continue attending a Bible study, and I was scared to death. Now, with the encouragement of a friend and by God's grace, I stayed in that refiner's fire and I kept going to that Bible study. I ended up being physically okay, but the spiritual endurance, character, and conviction that was formed through that unpleasant experience has stayed with me, and it was essential for my spiritual formation. As unpleasant as trials are, we desperately need them for our faith. Right? They are the greatest protection against our faith growing stagnant. And that's why I love James chapter 1, verses 2 through 5. I'm excited to start this book in our Bible reading plan. Here's how it reads. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Now, I don't know about you, but it's not my natural instinct to consider it joy when I face trials. It's more like I consider it unfortunate. It's counterintuitive to lump trials and joy together, but that's what we must do. Right? God is challenging us to value our spiritual growth over and above our comfort. So how do we do this? I think James is telling us we set our gaze upon what the trial is producing. Now, trials have a way of throwing off our spiritual equilibrium, right? They can make us feel off balanced. James tells us to count it all joy whenever we face trials, not if we face trials, right? Part of the difficulty with trials is that we often seem caught off guard or surprised by them, or like we're being punished. And this mindset actually adds a separate set of suffering to the trial that doesn't need to be there. We are told the purpose of these trials and that it's for the forming of certain character traits within us that are not formed in ease and comfort. Now, trials will typically have one of two effects. They will either make us better or bitter. Either the character of Christ is formed deeply in us, or a root of bitterness can form. James tells us to let perseverance finish its work. In other words, as people who gravitate towards predictability and comfort, we can often look to short-circuit the work of perseverance amidst the trials by jumping out of the crucible prematurely. If we have to sin, compromise our convictions, or be deceitful in order to get out from under a trial, we are not letting perseverance finish its work. That's why James says that if we lack wisdom during a trial, we can ask God for wisdom and he will give it. Perseverance finishes its work amidst a trial as we run towards God, not away from God. So I want to leave you with this question. What trial have you been looking to short circuit rather than letting perseverance finish its work?